Hi, this is Tom Oding, University of Iowa. I'm going to show you an interesting case. We used a Malyugin ring because the patient was on Flomax and had a small pupil. The cataract was visually significant, and so the patient agreed to have cataract surgery. You can see that we've got the leading eyelid in position, and the two lateral eyelets are also engaged nicely onto the iris. The subincisional eyelet we're going to place with a Kugler hook. The capsulorhexis went fine, and phaco started off fine, but we began to notice that the lens appeared to be very mobile. We began to worry a little bit about the possibility that either there was an unintended and unseen anterior capsular tear which had extended around, or that the zonules were loose. Here you can see that it's just not cracking well and the lens is just moving too much. And it really begins to look loose here as we begin to spin it. We wonder about zonule issues. And so in this case, the right thing to do is to try to get the most experienced surgeon that you have available to finish up the case. And so we decide to switch surgeons, and so then I take over like I'm some kind of big hero. I'm going to save the day here. You can see that the phaco is going okay. I'm able to get a piece acquired that we've chopped and begin to chip away at this nucleus. We've lowered the bottle height and lowered the vacuum here to try to keep the chamber more stable and to help us just in case there is a tear in the capsular or loose zonules. But you can see I'm really denying things now. It looks very loose. There's even a piece in retrospect that you can see that's floating posteriorly to the lens. But I'm still pressing on, and I really haven't yet detected any problems. But I'm in the denial phase, where I'm feeling like something's wrong, something doesn't seem right. And of course we've been in that mode for a while. And now you can really see that things aren't going well. That piece really wants to fall. There's vitreous in the chamber, and that's why it's not responsive to the phaco needle. And so it's time to stop now and just admit that we are in tough shape here. And there it falls. In a quarter or so, the nucleus falls back. Now in this case, what I should have done was added viscoat right at this point so the chamber stayed formed when I removed the needle. But I didn't do that. We noticed later that there was an anterior capsular tear. And that was the reason for the eventual posterior capsular tear. So we do an anterior vitrectomy. I like to make another incision so that you have tight incisions around both of these instruments. And we're cutting low and we're irrigating high. We've got all the vitreous out. We're going to place a MA50 lens in the sulcus. This is a nice lens because it's got a large optic of 6.5 millimeters. But unfortunately, it didn't really occur to me until I put the lens in that this 5-millimeter optic is a little bit big for this 6.2 millimeter ring. And you can see we have a little bit of trouble sort of stuffing this optic in through the Malyugin ring. But eventually we're able to get the lens behind the iris and into the sulcus. And actually here you can see the ring is kind of helpful for guiding this haptic into the sulcus. And so now we have this MA50 which is in the sulcus and nicely centered. We're going to remove the Malyugin ring by taking the eyelet which is across from the incision first, pushing it over to the angle as far as you can, and then we're going to tee up the subincisional eyelet so that we can grab that with the Malyugin ring inserter. We're going to go over to the side now, making sure that the plate is all the way under the eyelet and the hook is over the eyelet. And then we're going to retract just partially into the tube and then remove the Malyugin ring. We're going to remove a little bit more of the OVD, or we're going to place a suture in the larger paracentesis. And now we have to send this to one of our colleagues in retina because we need to remove that large hunk that I dropped. This is Tom at the University of Iowa. Thank you very much.